Hello, and welcome to the Elite YGO. My name is Rhys. Today we're going to be doing another remote duel locals tournament report thingamabob. Today I played Fluffal, and believe it or not, this deck performed so much better than expected. I actually went into it because I just wanted to play a fun deck. I wasn't really in the mood to be playing anything super competitive. And in hindsight, this was probably the most obscure deck to play because I didn't want to think too much. And I probably played the deck that requires some of the most thinking. When you open your hand, you see 5 cards and you got to find a way to piece them together. This deck is one of the most complicated combo decks going right now. And on top of that, it's definitely not the most powerful. So you really have to figure out where you want to put your resources and when. But we played Fluffal. I went X1. I lost my first round against Dogmatica Invoked. Then I 2-0'd everyone else. So I 2-0'd Dragon Link, then I 2-0'd Dogmatica Invoked again, and then I 2-0'd Altergeist. So there was only 4 rounds, so obviously it's not a big tournament. It's just a locals thing. We only did 4 rounds, which is fine. But yeah, the deck just performed so much better than I expected. I played through more hand traps than I thought the deck can play through. I played through Nibiru's, I played through Ashes, Ghost Ogres, everything. So I'll explain to you how I played through these cards and what the best card choices were for the tournament. But with that being said, let's do a deck profile. So starting with the main deck, we play 3 Fluffal Dog, obviously, the best card in the deck. This one searches a Fluffal or an Egypt Sabers when it's normal or special summoned. So that's really nice. 3 Fluffal Penguin. This guy basically special summons a Fluffal from your hand, or when it's used as fusion material, it will draw 2 and discard 1. That is also really, really good. Fluffal Bear, probably one of the best cards in the deck. Searches your Toy Vendor, which is like your favorite spell card in the game. So you want to maximize your way to getting to that. 2 Fluffal Wings, which basically pairs really well with Toy Vendor and Fluffal Bear, because this just gets you like 17 draws. Not literally, but it's really good to out-resource your opponent, because this deck does run out of gas quite quickly. Just for the one-ofs, we play 1 Fluffal Dolphin. I know this might sound weird because people are playing this at like 2, sometimes even 3. I've decided to cut it down to 1. I am one of those people who are playing it at 3, then I played it at 2, now I'm playing it at 1. Because, honestly, this is the card where if you want it, you'll search it, and that's about it. Usually what you'll do is you'll go Foolish Goods, search this, activate Foolish Goods, send Wings, you do your full, like, Wings combo just off the Foolish Goods now. So that's basically his only utility, and on the odd occasion you'll be making a Bahamut Shark with it. Fluffal Cat, nothing more can be said about this card. If you use it as fusion material, it'll add poly from your graveyard to your hand. Owl is my favorite one in the deck in terms of the Fluffal monsters, because on summon it'll search you poly, and then you can pay 500 life points to fusion summon without using poly, which is like really nice. So I'm often searching this card. And basically the best extender in the deck, Fluffal Sheep. There have been times where I've wanted to play 3 of this damn thing because it's so good. But for the time being, I think 1's fine. As I test more, we'll go from there. But truth be told, I do want to play multiples because I do want to swarm the field a bit more. Onto the Egypt monsters. Standard 3 Chain. Chain is just a badge Egypt monster, even including Scythe. Searches you a Frightfur card. And one of the best Frightfur cards in the game is Frightfur Fusion. I have a bit of a gripe with that card today, and I'll explain to you when I get there, but it also searches Frightfur Patchwork, which is genuinely the most insane card, being a +1 with no drawbacks. Then we play 3 Scythe. This is really good if you're going second, because we play this going first now. But if you're going second and you draw this in conjunction with a Fluffal monster, you're at least guaranteed an interruption with Cruel Whale. And also protects your Cruel Whale from being destroyed via its own effect, which is really neat. And Egypt Sabers has this really like unique interaction where it basically just puts your garnets back on top of the deck. The only issue is if you cannot manage to shuffle your deck via a search or something, you're just going to draw that card on your following turn anyway. And that does happen, and it sucks. And you forget you put it on top of your deck, and then you draw this card and you go, oh no, I can't believe this is there. And then you'll remember, yeah, I put it there. But yes, Sabers can be a massive lifesaver, being basically a free extender if you're running out of Egypt monsters on the field to use as fusion material. It's also good for Link monsters too. The only hand trap I ran was the Gamma package. In my old list, I wasn't playing any hand traps, but obviously that's so incorrect. Hand traps are just the way to go in a format like this, and I felt like Gamma was just the most impactful and basically most universal card you could play, so I thought there's no reason not to play Gamma, and I'm sure many of you will agree. And then just a one-off Artifact Scythe, because you just make Dagda, set Scythe, Cruel Whale, pop Scythe. It's really, really strong. No real need to explain this card. Onto the spell cards. We play 3 Toy Vendor. Like I said, it is the card you want to get to the quickest. We play 3 Foolish Burial Goods too. So we essentially have 9 ways to get to this one card and utilize its effects. This card is amazing. Foolish Burial Goods, now that Dolphin is a thing, has made Foolish Burial Goods at least a 1-card Wings combo now, which is really, really neat. Obviously, the 3 Patchwork, which coincide with the 3 Polymerization. You've got to max these guys out. You sometimes even run out of polys, which is really, really nasty. But yeah, poly is the heart and soul of your deck, so you need to maximize ways to get to it. Sometimes you're so desperate that you'll probably end up making things like the Anaconda just to get to a poly, which I have done. Wasn't worth it in the end, but it's sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to play your hand out. Onto some Fright Fur 1-offs. We play 1 Fright Fur Repair. This card's amazing, even when you draw it, because it's an extender, both when you activate it and when it's in the graveyard and you banish it. This card is absolutely mandatory, and I love it. And as I mentioned before, the Fright Fur Fusion. If I counted correctly, I opened this 5 games, sorry. 5 games I opened this. In my opening 5 cards, I drew this card. It was so glued to me. Now, don't get me wrong, drawing it is nice, because if all goes wrong, you can just activate this, fusion summon 5 using 5 materials from your graveyard, and attack 20 times with your fusion monsters, or pop 5 cards. It's just, this card is amazing. I kind of want to play a second one, so keep that in mind when you're building the deck and testing it yourself, that this is probably worth running it too, because sometimes you do get use of both. And then the final 2 cards are 2 Triple Tactics Talent. If I did have a third, I would 100% play a third. The deck right now is 43. I would just make it 44. I wouldn't cut anything and just play a third Triple Tactics Talent, because this is the reason your deck can play through Nibiru. So if you're going second and you're in the midst of breaking your opponent's board and they go, you know what, I'm kind of sick of you doing stuff, I'm going to Nibiru you. Well, in some scenarios that would suck, but if you've got Triple T plus an extender, you could just go Triple T, steal their monster, and then if you've got your extender, you'll use both of them to make Anaconda. Anaconda will send the Fright Fur Fusion from your deck, and then there's your OTK right there. You've stolen the monster that's blocking the attack damage, and you've got Nibiru plus 5 attack, 2000 beat stick. It's just insanity. So yeah, I would without doubt play 3 of this. I know it's not the most budget-friendly card. Things like, I guess, Mind Control can arguably act the same, but this just obviously is infinitely better than Mind Control. Before we move on, guys, I'd just like to give a huge shout out to Nikijo.com.au. Use promo code ELITE5 at checkout for 5% off all your orders. Trust me, it's worth it. They have the most insane pre-order sales prices you can ask for. And if you use my promo code, you'll be supporting me along with the website, and you'll be helping yourself out with a huge discount of a whole 5%. I know it's not a lot, but saving money is better than not saving money, am I right? With that being said, let's get on with the extra deck. So we are playing 3 Cruel Whale. We play 3 because, spoiler alert, we're playing VFD, so you generally will waste 2 in your opening turn, and the third is there as a disruption or a pop or just some kind of follow-up OTK push if you choose to go that route. We play 1 Sabertooth and 1 Kraken. This is like the old combo. Oh my lord. I'm very Butterfingers these days, aren't I? So the interesting thing about these cards is I used to play the rank 8 Galaxy guy that used to negate spells. Tachyon, I cannot remember for the life of me. Anyway, I don't do that anymore. Basically, the only utility these guys have is to do the old school 8,000 damage OTK. Because sometimes you don't want to invest too many cards, and to make this happen, it's very minimal resources. So that's why I just play 1 of each, because you can just go Kraken, pop a card, then summon Sabertooth, using it as material, Sabertooth, summon it back, and that's 8,000 damage on its own. And the 2 best cards in my extra deck, bar none, you cannot tell me otherwise, Tiger and Wolf. Now, I'm sure you guys might know what this does, but Wolf can attack up to the number of fusion materials used, and Tiger will target and pop cards on the field up to the number of fusion materials used. Fright Fur Fusion will banish the material from your graveyard. Usually, it's loaded with monsters, so in some scenarios, this can attack 6, 7, 8 times, doesn't matter. This can pop the whole field if it really wants to. These cards are so amazing. I almost want to play 2 of each, and then 2 of the Fright Fur Fusion, just so I can guarantee a second push if all goes to hell. Onto the links. The link 2 is Cross Sheep, Anaconda, and Dagda. These are obviously pretty mandatory. You're playing a fusion-based deck, so you've got to play this. Anaconda, you're playing a fusion-based deck, you got to play this. And obviously Dagda is part of some of the combos you might accomplish where you want to lock out your opponent's extra deck. It's very good to do that because extra deck is very hard to get around in this because you don't have that many interruptions. If you can't get to VFD, if you can at least get to Dagda plus a way to pop the Scythe, you're probably still going to manage a victory there. For Link 4s, we play Appaloosa and Access Code Talker. The good thing about Access Code Talker, and I didn't really notice this until I was playing against the Dogmatica deck, but basically if you're going second and they use Maximus, which they will because they don't expect you to have anything in your extra deck, what I would normally do going second is send these two, which basically guarantees you it'll guarantee you 3 attributes when you get to Access Code Talker, because usually Cross Sheep will get you to Access Code Talker. So you've at least got 3 attributes to get you there. That's why I think Access Code is really neat. And Appaloosa, when you're going first, there's a lot of times where you can make Appaloosa a VFD or a true King of all calamities. And then if you're lucky, maybe even a totally awesome. Now onto the XYZs, Bahamut Shark and Totally Awesome. Obviously I just mentioned these. Usually you can make this within your 5th summon so you don't get Nibiru, provided your hand is the way it's meant to be, because there are some ways you can do it. Obviously not all hands are going to accomplish this. Not all hands are going to accomplish this while maintaining hand advantage, which the deck really does thrive on. So keep in mind that you're not always going to go into this route, but if your hand is just the bee's knees, you will be doing this. And then the other MVP is True King of all calamities, a card that just needs to be banned. I can't believe things like this and Zexal are still going, but for as long as we have these broken cards, I'm going to play them and make my rogue decks beat these meta decks, guys. Beating Dragonlink, beating Dogmatica Invoked was some of the most satisfying things when playing this deck. It was amazing. I'll give you a quick side deck look because, you know, locals report and whatnot, but I would take this with a bit of a grain of salt like normal. Pankratops and Lancia. We played Lancia because, you know, you can side it in, you can get it off Dagda if you want. It's also not bad to draw against like Dragonlink and sometimes Invoked, just depends. Just as a test, this is just a test card, guys, so you don't have to play it. Obviously, your side deck will be, you know, based on your own meta in your area. But I was playing 3, no material. I just wanted to see what this card could do against Dragonlink, against Invoked. Against Dragonlink, it basically stopped their whole turn, because if you no material a Striker Dragon, is basically all over there. And against Dogmatica, if you do this against Almirage, if their hand's a bit average, you're probably going to get a free win out of that, because if they can't push further than the Almirage, it means their invocations are basically dead, unless they want to make a Purgatrio, which they cannot do, obviously, because they cannot be used as fusion material, so there is literally nothing they can do unless they draw some Dogmatica cards and can make a play through that route. And then just some more standard stuff, Harpy's Feather Duster, 3 Lightning Storm, and 3 Twin Twisters. This deck fears backer a lot because, you know, you can play through a lot of it, but you don't want to have to. Twin Twisters is especially good in this deck because a lot of your cards get value of being discarded, so that is super neat. A lot of people criticized me in my last deck profile because I didn't have enough backer hate, but again, it's got to do with your meta, guys. Don't copy this if your meta is just full of combo. But I did have a hint that there was going to be an Altergeist player, and I thought, you know what? I don't know what everyone else is playing, so I might as well just be prepared for a trap deck. And then 3 Forbidden Droplet, because this is just the best card. You can send things like Toy Vendor to gain plus off it. You can send like Toy Vendor Wings and like, you know, something else. Search Bear, search Toy Vendor, Wings, Toy Vendor. It's just insane. So yeah, this card is just so broken. Anyway, that's it for the deck profile, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are very, very close to 1,000 subscribers. If we can get to that goal by the end of the year, that would be so amazing. Even better, if we can get to it by the 3-month anniversary of this channel, that would be even cooler. But I know I'm asking for a lot. But if you liked the video, give it a like. Let's try hit 100 likes on this video. But other than that, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.